Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your WWE Summerslam 2016 preview and predictions. John, the show is looking really interesting, and I think that I'm not going out on too much of a limb when I say this card is absolutely freaking stacked.
It is stacked, brother. I am looking forward to it. Admittedly, I don't know if I'm looking forward to the show as much as Back to Brooklyn or Brooklyn 2 if you prefer. I gave that show, well, really a 9.5 at the end of it, thanks to our conversations, bumping it up slightly. Here, I'd say here I'm starting at a solid 8. So, but yeah.
And I was going to say 7.5 maybe, but probably 7. So it's like the exact same as Brooklyn, just 1 point lower for both of us.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Still, though, much like Brooklyn 2, I'm so excited to dissect this card with you. There are a few matches I'm really anticipating, a few other matches that I'm kind of curious where they'll go. So whenever you're ready to start getting into this, I'm ready.
All right. Let's get into this then. Let's start with literally the match that neither one of us could possibly give a shit about, even if we were forced to or we even decided to try. This match is even on this card, and if it had to be on this card, it should have been a part of the U.S. title match, but whatever. Cesaro versus Sheamus.
Honestly, and I only say this because Cesaro's won the last 2 straight. I think Sheamus is going to win the first match. Yeah, Sheamus is winning. He's got to get a win on the board. This series kind of irritates me, and it's so funny because I've been saying on and off for the last few years, I would like to see a return of the best of 7 series. Man, am I eating my fucking words now because I didn't realize they would just tank it right out of the gate. No stakes, no anything. I expect them to come later. It's between 2 guys that already, I feel like dominance has already been illustrated on the side of Cesaro. It's not a dead heat. It's not a really sympathetic babyface that's been cheated. You know, it kind of reminds me of Benoit and Booker T's best of 5 series. It's just really not there. There's nothing really compelling at work here, but I will say Sheamus gets the first win.
Yep, Sheamus is going to win this one, and he might even win their second match together. I did kind of say that the first thing they were going to do is give Sheamus a lead to try and make it seem like Cesaro's the underdog, even though Cesaro already has a 2-match lead because they've already had 2 matches, and apparently they just didn't count in hard quotes.
Exactly. Man, screw that.
It's infuriating, yeah. So, since we both agree Sheamus is winning this first match, let's move on already to the second match, and another match that was made a little bit more interesting today, but I don't know if it's in a good way or a bad way. Carmella, Becky Lynch, and Naomi versus Natalya and Alexa Bliss, and that's it, because apparently Eva Marie is no longer in this match.
Yes, because she had a violation of the wellness policy that I'm very curious what all went down. Same way with Paige and Del Rio. Here's the thing, though. Here's where it gets interesting. And I'm going to just say what I think, and I'm going to field it over to you. One, there's got to be a replacement in my mind. I would like that replacement, get this, to be Billie Kay. I would love for her to come up and be a replacement.
Oh, yeah. I would love that. That'd be great. She's already been on SmackDown in the last month. She's a heel. It fits. I would not complain one bit if it was her. But what if it's the other Australian, John? What if it is Emma?
You are so... You know, dude, the crazy thing is, I think you're becoming an even bigger Emma fan than I am. And I was the original Emma.
I think I already am a bigger Emma fan than you are. You've fallen off with her because of freaking Ember Moon being a thing.
Yeah, honestly, you can have Emma now. I'm over it. I'm all Ember Moon now, baby. But yeah, like, I would love for it to be Emma. She's an amazing performer. I don't know the state of her recovery. That's the only reason I have been like, yeah, Ash, that's funny. Because I want to get pumped.
Guess whose recovery we do know the state of, though?
Who's that?
Nikki Bella has been cleared by doctors for a WWE return.
Do you think she'd return, though, representing the heel team?
I don't know, John. I don't know.
Because I feel like they want to make her more of a babyface on her return. That's the vibe I've been getting, personally. Of course.
Well, I mean, it's funny. It's funny you say that because the women, I can't even speak right now. I'm so flustered. Nikki Bella is one of the few people who can be a heel that still manages to cut face promos and sell a shit ton of merch for some reason.
Yeah. I don't even really know if the Bellas are anything, because even when they are baby faces, they do heel as shit. And that's what's always infuriated me about them. So maybe Nikki could work, even if she was a baby face, tagging with Natalya and Alexa Bliss. I don't freaking know. I, again, would prefer Billie Kay for all the reasons I thought of that you took right out of my mouth. Was on SmackDown last month. It's already working,
Yeah.
Brooklyn.
I mean, if we're going by preference, my number one would be Emma, 2 would be Billie, and then there would be like 50 pounds of shit, and then Nikki Bella.
Right. I mean,
if we're going by realistic expectations, 1 is Billie Kay, 2 is Nikki Bella, 3 is Emma.
Yeah, I really have to agree with you on all counts. Like, I want it to be Emma too, but the only reason I haven't gotten turned up and been like, oh yeah, Emma, it's so good, is because I don't know where she's at right now. I don't know what her rehab's been like or anything. I don't want to get my hopes up.
You know what, dude? I think my official prediction, because I was actually thinking about this when we were talking about her in Back to Brooklyn, and then you brought her up completely independently of what I was thinking. I'm going to predict officially that it will be Billie Kay replacing Eva Marie in this match. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. You know what? So, I'll go with you simply because I don't want it to be Nikki, and I can't get my hopes up enough to think that it's Emma. So Billie Kay is that sweet spot. I'm going to go with her. Now to pick a winner. Is the heel team winning or the babyfaces winning?
I think the babyfaces are going to win, and I think it might even be a triple submission where Becky has one of the heel women locked in the disarmor, and Carmella has one of them locked into I forget what the name of her finish. The Code of Silence, yeah, the Code of Silence. And Naomi has that submission that she used a while back that was like her legs that she wrapped around their head or something, kind of like a modified Code of Silence almost. Use that, and they could all 3 be getting, Natalya, Alexa, and Billie to tap out at the same time for the win.
Yeah, that sounds good to me, dude. I am going to agree with you. I'm going to say female baby faces for the win in this tag match. And then hopefully starting at Backlash, we get a women's championship. We get this show on the road. So Naomi, Carmella, and Becky Lynch for the win. Let's move on.
Yeah. So, okay, up next, I believe our last match that isn't considered to be a main event type match or have a title on the line, Enzo and Cass versus JeriKO.
I'm actually going with Enzo and Cass in this match. Are you, or are you thinking JeriKO?
I am, but I'm not happy about it. I think JeriKO should win, but I think that because it's WWE and they have no clue how to properly book a babyface or a babyface entity, they're going to just have Enzo and Cass win and celebrate with the crowd, whatever. I hope Enzo and Cass lose, because I don't know if they've lost a single match since they've been called up to the main roster, which is literally the exact antithesis to their entire character in NXT and the reason they were able to stay over as long as they did in NXT without holding the titles.
Exactly. I completely agree with you. I would like to see them start losing more. Unfortunately, I don't see that happening. Really, what I see happening, because I think they've been getting bullied from the word go. JeriKO have thrown matches out on Raw simply to beat them down. I see Enzo after the what we're simply calling on Twitter, the Bada Boom. It's actually called the Bada Boom Shakalaka. I see Enzo pinning JeriKO because JeriKO started picking on Enzo, which started this whole thing. So I see Enzo getting that win and a big moment for the realist guys, even though I love JeriKO. I think, and I'm being really honest with everybody here, I think JeriKO may actually be my favorite makeshift tag team since Rated RKO. I freaking love these guys.
Oh, what about Dashing Dreams?
I honestly never cared for them at all. I thought that was actually quite stupid, personally.
I loved Dashing Dreams. I wanted them to get pushed so hard, and they just never really, yeah.
Didn't they debut in a tag turmoil where they won the tag titles? I mean, that's not so bad.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and hey, what about the Rhodes Scholars? They were awesome, and they were thrown together.
Yeah, they were good, but they didn't have the. Well, I was gonna say they didn't have the edge of Rated RKO, and one of the guys was named Edge, but yeah, like
I didn't have the Orton of RKO.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I loved Rated RKO, and I haven't felt this good about a makeshift team since then. But then you get JeriKO, and it's just so freaking good. Honestly, dude, and we're gonna be getting to that match, I'm sure, shortly. I really pissed that I think New Day is gonna lose the titles, kind of a giveaway there, because I want JeriKO to have a run with those titles, and I don't see it happening with heel tag team champions. So yeah, realist guys to win. You go with the boring option, even though I love Enzo and Cass, I could use a struggle. Damn it.
Dude, every single time WWE has a match, the answer is what's the most boring option, and that's the correct answer to who's going to
win. And when you're wrong, you still don't lose because, oh my God, WWE went a different route. So in long term, you've made a better product. Yeah. Either way, we win.
Yeah, exactly. So we're either going to be right or you're going to do better. Either way, we win.
Exactly.
All right. Let's talk about the main event / championship type match that matters the least, in my opinion. You might disagree. I don't know. We'll find out. The Miz versus Apollo Crews.
I'm really torn on this one. I have been saying, we're finally here, and I've been saying forever up to this point, I thought Apollo Crews was going to end Miz's reign. I thought he was going to do it at SummerSlam. It was so weird I even picked SummerSlam, and like it all came together. Do I pull the trigger and do I finish what I started, and do I pick Apollo or do I pick The Miz? And this is kind of a toss-up because the funny thing is I feel like this program has actually kind of cooled Miz down a bit, and that's a shame because I've really been loving his heel work. And Apollo, as much of an upside as I think he has, I'm trying to take ego out of it. I'm really trying to take ego out of it because as much of an upside as I think Apollo has, he still has no character. I still don't think he can work a microphone or cut a promo or make that crowd connection. I agree with LaToya Ferguson from AV Club. She once said, look, Apollo Crews, he would be every kid's favorite action figure. You know, he'd be wrestling right alongside the Colin Cassidy and Enzo Amore action figure. I agree with all that, but we can only get there when he has a definable character, and he doesn't have one yet. So you know what? This is going to be a rare moment in Twitwell. I'm not going to go the ego this time. I'm not going to go with the table that I already set. I'm going to say Miz retains. I'm going to say Miz retains Intercontinental Championship. I can't, in good conscience, pick Apollo. I think the World Tour continues for the Miz, so I say he retains.
You know what, John? I think you've earned this.
Yeah!
Because I was hoping that you would say that because, yeah, it really makes no sense for Apollo to win, and if he does, I think that's another step back for the Intercontinental Championship that was once held by a post-Yes movement Daniel Bryan. And I just want The Miz to keep the title. You called it the World Tour. I think that's what The Miz is calling it as well. And, yeah,
yes.
Let's keep that on the road. Let's keep that going. And hopefully – and you know what? I could even see The Miz winning cheaty. He could win – maybe Maurice distracts Apollo and the Miz hits him with a low blow roll-up like Toriano. Or maybe there is no finish. Maybe Maurice slaps Apollo in front of the ref and the ref calls the match. You know, that's entirely possible. What's the name of the next SmackDown pay-per-view, John?
Backlash.
Exactly.
There you go. So yeah, despite the fact that I set the table, Apollo's gonna, be the challenger at SummerSlam. He's gonna win at SummerSlam, which there's still a part of me that thinks that. I'm going to try and look at this purely objective. I say Miz wins, probably through the same means you're talking about. Maybe Apollo gets a rematch at Backlash and they do it then. But by then, see, I'm still going to have a problem with it because it's only a Band-Aid on a bigger problem. That being, again, Apollo has no character. He has no tenable connection with the audience. If you're going to do a rematch at Backlash, up the emotional stakes a little bit. Have Apollo show some fire that he was robbed. I really am starting to worry about him, dude. I really am, because I really thought we'd be doing something by now, and I think he's another one that
relegate him back to NXT.
I think he was doing better there. I really do. I think he was slowly starting to get it. I think this was definitely a premature call up, and I don't want them to ruin him because, again, like I'm standing by all the good things I say about him. It's kind of like when you're looking at a college prospect in football. You can be honest about the negatives, but still see one hell of an upside. And that's the same thing with Apollo. He needs a lot of work. He's a work in progress. But where he's good, I think he could.
You know what I think the difference there, though, is, John?
What's that?
when I see a lot of upside in an NFL prospect, it's because they're this incredible athlete that just hasn't put it together mentally. And in the NFL, you get to the big leagues and you get coached up and they fix that mental aspect and the athleticism translates. In the WWE, have we ever had one of these elite, incredible athletic specimens be a legitimate top guy in the business ever?
No, I don't think so.
So to me, that tells me that even though athleticism is nice to have, it's not necessarily a trait that translates to success in the pro wrestling industry. And even though I like Apollo because of how much upside he has as an athlete, being an elite athlete does not mean that you are or that you will be a great pro wrestler. And that is the distinction that I'm trying to make with Apollo. He is an incredible athlete, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he is or ever will be an excellent pro wrestler.
Right. And honestly, dude, and I'm just going to be forthcoming with everybody. If I'm especially Apollo, Neville, I'm less worried about, but Apollo, certainly, you need to get something going with him, because the moment you put ink to paper as far as Tony Nese is concerned, you're all done. Because to me, if they could get a character for that guy, he's going to outperform all those guys and go far.
And you know what, though? I think that the difference, and not even talking about Nese, I agree with you to a degree, maybe not even 100% there, but I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about Neville. The difference, I think, between Neville and Apollo Crews is that when Neville got to the main roster, first of all, he didn't really need a character. Second of all, he does things in the ring that we've never seen before. You know, when somebody charges into the corner at him and he jumps over them and then does the double flip to the opposite corner, we've never seen anyone do that before.
Right.
When he does the red arrow is something else we've never seen anyone do before. We've seen people do power bombs before. We've seen people do moonsaults and shooting stars before. And I think that Apollo Crews needs to be doing something or adding something to his repertoire or doing just anything at this point that really makes him stand out in a crowd of extremely athletic and talented people. Because you put Apollo Crews next to Cesaro, what can Apollo do that Cesaro can't?
Exactly. Yeah.
You put Apollo next to Neville even. What can Apollo do that Neville can't?
Exactly.
That's my thing. Apollo needs to find something either about himself or about anything that he can make about himself that he can use to separate himself from the rest of this crop.
Yeah, I completely agree with you 150%. And for now, for his own benefit as well as the benefit of the Intercontinental title, I think the best choice is to have him as retain.
Yeah. So I'm glad we had that discussion, though, about Apollo, because I really do like Apollo, really specifically the person. I don't remember. Obviously, Uha Nation isn't his real name, but I don't know his real name. So I'm just going to say Apollo the person rather than Apollo the performer, you know?
Right.
But yeah, that said, though, let's move on. Up next, The New Day versus The Club, Anderson and Gallows. And do you think Big E is going to be back, or do you think it's going to be Kofi and Xavier, and Big E's return is going to be a big surprise that happens mid-match?
I honestly don't think Big E's returning at all. I think Kofi and Xavier are going to work the whole match. They're going to lose, but Big E returns for the rematch clause. And then that's when the club has to prove their mettle. That's what I think.
I like that. I can dig that, man. I can dig that. I can appreciate that. So you are picking the club to win.
Absolutely.
Oh, boy. Okay, well, I've been thinking about it, man, and I don't know. This is probably one of the 2 or 3 toughest matches for me to pick, because it feels like the club has been getting the advantage in every exchange that these two teams have had, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
And that's usually a sign that the team that's been getting the upper hand in every exchange is not going to win at the pay-per-view.
Yeah, that is true.
That's got me concerned, because I feel like the club has almost been getting too much on the New Day. And the New Day, say what you will about the New Day maybe wearing thin, maybe they're a little bit on the we're over you side or whatever. At the end of the day, the New Day are an actual draw in the WWE right now. When they headline house shows, up to those house shows than the people that show up to Roman or Dean or JeriKO or Owens house shows, or even I think the only person that has, the only people have a higher average attendance than the New Day are AJ Styles and Seth Rollins. Those two guys get more. They're the only guys that get more house show attendance numbers than the New Day. So maybe, just maybe, the New Day are still going to be the WWE World Tag Team Champions.
Maybe, man.
I'm picking them. I'm going all in. I'm picking the New Day. The New Day are retaining. I'm picking them.
And you know what? They could, and I only say that because, Xavier, he's not in the same state that he was when he would first work these Xavier, so therefore New Day loses. Like, he has gotten a few wins for the team. Now, at Battleground, he did eat the pin in that 6-man against the Wyatt family, but this is a standard 2-on-2 tag team matchup. And I could see a situation where Xavier Woods pins Carl Anderson, for instance. I don't know, man. I think the only reason they wanted to handicap the New Day by taking out Big E with ring post-itis is to give them something to fall back on for when they lose the titles and have a legitimate claim to a rematch, outside of being we were such ridiculously long reigning tag team champions. So I'm still going with the club, but I think the rematch, whenever that's going to be, probably for the first Raw exclusive event, I don't know what it's called, I don't know what it's going to be, it will be Big E and Kofi, the actual New Day team we're used to, against the club, and then they're really going to have to prove their mettle again as the new tag team champions. Can they beat the New Day when they're at their best? So,
but I think that Big E will make an appearance during this match, and he might even be the reason the New Day wins.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's an interesting prediction.
I think that Big E is going to show up mid-match. He's going to have a run-in. He's going to come out. He might even have a comedically large bandage on his crotch area. He's going to come out, and he might not even run. He might limp. He might have crutches. I don't know. And I think that he is going to be the cause of the New Day retaining the titles here. And by the way, John, I do want to put this out there. I'm looking at the WWE's top sellers right now, and 2 of the top 5 selling T-shirts on WWEshop.com right now are New Day, including number 1.
Wow, man. They have done so well for themselves. And can I say this, too, if this is the end? I'm so proud of the work that the New Day has done. Like, way to just take it. Well, really, I was going to say by the balls, but, and make this work and really make this work. Like, They went from a gimmick where when they were baby faces, you, me, and everybody were just crapping all over those guys. And now doing what they do, cutting loose and just having the time of their lives, are the number 1 merch sellers. And in a business like this, that matters. That matters big time. And couldn't be prouder of those guys. Really, it's been amazing.
That's exactly why I'm picking them. I don't think the WWE is ready to get off of the New Day gravy train yet.
Yeah, you make a lot of sense, dude. You make a lot of sense. My vantage point is they were deliberately handicapped so as to tell the story, make it seem like an easier path for the club to win the titles. You're looking more at the economics of it, the long-term story, all that stuff. So I think we've both got good vantage points. It's really going to be a toss-up, like who's going to emerge Sunday. So we're sticking to our guns. I think this is in both. Agreed for the most part. This is our first disagreement here for SummerSlam. So there you go.
Yeah, first disagreement for SummerSlam, but you know what? I doubt it'll be our last, because up next we've got Rusev versus Roman Reigns for the United States Championship.
You saying that? Are you picking Roman to win the championship?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, why? Seriously, though, you think he's going to beat Rusev because he beat him on Raw, so really beat him 2 straight?
It's WWE, dude. I wouldn't be surprised.
You know what? Dude, I wish I could muster up some piss and vinegar to throw in your direction. I wish I could tell you you're wrong, blah, blah, blah. And I do think you are, but I don't even really have the fire in me to fight it. And I love Rusev, but it's fucking Roman Reigns. It wouldn't.
I think I might have broken your heart. I am so sorry. I really do want Rusev to win, and it makes the most sense for Rusev to win, and it makes no sense that within a month of Roman returning from his wellness violation, they would put another title on him, even if it isn't a world title. But it's the fact that all that stuff would make sense is exactly why the WWE won't do it.
You know what? It's not the idea that you broke my heart. Reality broke my heart because it's fucking Roman Reigns. And that's, you know what, dude? And what I've been waffling on is, do we get another pass-out win that Rusev's been known to get against stronger guys? Or are they going to make Roman seem so indomitable, so unbeatable? Because it's been a while since I predicted either like a count-out or a DQ finish on our preview predictions. And I know I did it for Brooklyn, Joe Nakamura. We may get one here with Rusev Reigns, with Rusev just getting the belt, maybe trying to hit Roman with the belt. And then it's like, oh, Roman Reigns was robbed. And listen to this crowd, because clearly that boo, that's totally towards Rusev and not towards Roman Reigns. So I don't know. Do they give him the pass-out win against Roman? I wish they would. I wish they'd give a shit about Rusev. But you know what? I went on a rant on Raw Twit Wow, and I said that we should all be excited that Rusev is in the main event. But except it's not about Rusev in the main event. It's the Roman Reigns show. And you and I have been saying that a lot lately. So what finish makes more sense with the Roman Reigns show? Making Rusev seem dominant with that accolade that Roman already got to the ropes to on Monday by passing out? Or Rusev gets scared, he grabs his championship, he clocks Roman in the head with it, and he gets disqualified. I think the DQ still makes it the Roman Reigns show. That's the finish I'm going with, but I don't think they're going to have Roman win the championship. Just something tells me I don't think they have any interest in putting that title on Roman Reigns. I think this is just part of the convoluted idea. We're demoting him, guys, see? So Roman's going to win, but Rusev's going to keep the championship. I predict a DQ finish, and Roman Reigns can
You know what they might do? It worked for Cena. Let's have Roman do a United States Championship Open Challenge and take on all comers.
Oh, my God, the pain. Oh, my God.
I know. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, the past week, and this just shows you that really, like, hey, WWE, you guys are new era, right? The last week of shows have ended with Roman Reigns standing tall and John Cena standing tall. GG.
And do you know what really pisses me? You went on a rant about Shinsuke. I have to go on a little mini rant here. You're going to fuck up Rusev if I'm right about the DQ thing. If it's the pass-out thing, we can still make it work because you shouldn't waste the quality. And yeah, you're damn fucking right. I said quality work by Rusev lately. Sami Zayn should be the one to end that championship reign if anybody's going to do it right now. Somebody may come along and I think, oh, they're better for the job. Sami Zayn right now should be in this conversation. He's not even on the pay-per-view.
Booked for this show, John.
He's not even on the... That laugh was legend status. I'm glad you got that out. He's not even... We good? You good?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Continue. Don't stop for me.
You know, he's not even on this fucking show. He wins at Battleground, which was a huge deal because it was one of your bigger build matches because it was the last pre-draft show and the big emotional story, best man at my wedding, 15 years, apron power bombs, this and that. Sami wins. And I'm not freaking playing right now. I'm not going to swear everybody and be like, oh, but he's not because he's a fucking loser. No, you have a top baby face on your fucking hands that I'm not even a huge fan of. He could go, he could leave, he could do whatever he wants. I respect the hell out of him. I don't care for him, but I'm not stupid. The guy has a connection with this crowd that most people aspiring to be a babyface would kill for. And I'm looking at fucking Roman Reigns. And yet, no, I have an idea. Let's have Roman beat Rusev 2 straight and give him the U.S. Championship. Or even better, so that, we show we care about Rusev. Why don't we make him look like a punk bitch? Couldn't even defend his wife's honor. Let's just have him rip that belt out of the timekeeper's hands, clock it against Reigns' skull, and do it that way. This should be Sami Zayn we're talking about right now. It pisses me off we're talking about Roman. I'm really, in fact, sick of talking about Roman Reigns in general and only start enjoying talking about him when, you guessed it, he fucking turns heel. But that's not the reality we're dealing with. This match pisses me off for so many reasons, mainly because you're probably right. And no, I wasn't stubborn about the IC title match, and you gave me the golf clap for that. You may have to redact that because I'm not backing down on this. No, I have to pick Rusev, mainly because I cannot force my mind mentally to pick Roman Reigns. I am not going to put myself through that. Fuck Roman Reigns. Seriously, fuck this booking when it should be Sami Zayn right now taking that U.S. Championship because people actually give a shit about him, and he's a babyface that transcends cultures. For God's sakes, his attire has, I think, every flag in the world on it, you know, because he's Canadian and he has all these other roots, and people fucking love him.
That's exactly why he can't be the United States champion. I mean, maybe intercontinental, since he's got all these intercontinental countries on his trunks, but where's the U.S. flag on there?
I am so sorry. The entire time you were saying that, I just pictured either McMahon's face or Dunn's, and Homicide has never looked so attractive to me in my life. Oh my God, just my hands around their throat. I'm feeling an ecstasy just thinking about it. But regardless, you're fucking this up here because Rusev deserves better than this too. If he does a DQ finish like I'm fearing, that totally bitches him out. And he has been a monster on this run. I've loved it. This is why I wanted him on SmackDown. Because if he was being booked like this on SmackDown, you know what I'd be thinking to myself? Oh, it's only a matter of time before Ambrose and Rusev share a ring together. Seriously. Like, I want him in the fucking main event. I want Cesaro in the main event, but he's dicking around in a best-of-7 series with a guy that he's already proven himself to be better than. But no, we need Rusev. He's got the most important job. Oh my God, he's competing for the inaugural Universal title. No, silly. He's got to get Roman Reigns over. I'm going to hurt you people. I want you to know that. One way or the other, I'm going to hurt you people. But no. Roman's probably going to win. You're right, but because I'm stubborn and I'm a child, I'm going to say fuck that. Rusev keeps the title by DQ and Roman wins that way. So that's my
You know what, though, John? You know what, though? I think the difference between this and Ms. Cruz is that Ms. Cruz was about your personal ego. This is more about doing what's right and the moral correctness of a decision that can be made. So you know what? Even though you said that I might have to redact it, I'm not. I'm going to do you even one better, and I'm going to double up on it.
Yeah! This really should be Sami Zayn, though, dude. It pisses me off he's not even on this card.
He's not. Yeah, that's the thing. Sami Zayn is not even on this card. It is ridiculous. And by the way, you brought up Kevin Dunn. Can I just remind you and everybody else in this chat right now, Kevin Dunn is the same guy who on Johnny Mundo's season of Tough Enough said, I think he wants to act, and I think he wants to talk, and I think he wants to be athletic, but I don't think he's right for our business.
I hate you so much. So much. And again, I have to say this as a Kevin Owens fan. What logic does this pay-per-view even have that a guy in Sami Zayn who beat Kevin Owens again in one of the bigger build matches, the guy who lost makes it to the next pay-per-view over the guy who won? Come on, guys. I don't care if you're a Kevin Owens fan, a Sami Zayn fan, if you're Scum Squad, whatever. That's not logical at all. Come on now. Oh, my God. My anger. Let's move on from this match. Unless, do you have anything else you want to say?
I don't think so. I was coming into this, I was thinking I was going to pick Rusev, but in the clutch moments, I have to go with my gut, and my gut says, LOL, Roman wins.
I don't even blame you, dude. Like, you got, like, all of my stuff isn't even you or your pick. It's just, honestly, probably how right you are and the atmosphere that makes you right to begin with. I hate everything about it so much. So, what match is next?
You ready to move on now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Up next is... You know what? Let's do it, because they've been made out to be the lesser brand. They've been made out to be the B brand. This match might actually jerk the curtain on this show. Dolph Ziggler versus Dean Ambrose.
You know what? You're not even wrong. I don't disagree with you, but I have to. And I figure what better forum than here? I have to give this match props because in certain ways I've actually enjoyed the build to this more than Balor Rollins. I could be in the minority here, but I like the story they've told. They've readily embraced, you know what? Yeah, we booked Dolph like shit for 2 years, but we're going to call that him being an underdog and have him say in interviews he hasn't done much in the past few years. But they've embraced it and they've tried turning it into a narrative tool that I think has interesting possibilities. To me, the solution is straightforward. You have Dean win, and on the SmackDown Live post SummerSlam, you have Dolph turn heel. I know people keep wanting Kevin Nash to come back, and as a Kevin Nash fan, like I love his shoot interviews, I'd like to see him do it, but I'm not going to get my head in the clouds. Just have Dolph be cocky and bitter. I even came up with the phrase for him, I'm bitter because I'm better. That would be kind of his heel mantra, and have him go on his run.
So corny, and you know it.
I came up with it. I'm proud of it. And you know, like he could do his whole thing. Honestly, as a heel, I could see him feuding with the Intercontinental title. That would be if Cruz would win earlier in the night, which you guys already know. I'm picking Miz and I'm sticking by that. So I don't know what it is, but I think Dolph turns heel post SummerSlam. Dean rolls on, and he rolls on to either Bray Wyatt or AJ Styles, and we'll get to AJ Styles later in this video. But what are you thinking, partner?
I agree. I do also think Dean is retaining. I think Dolph is the definition of a temporary feud with a champion, really a first feud with a champion to get the champion over rather than getting himself over. That's Dolph Ziggler's career in a nutshell. Get the other guy over. Don't worry about getting yourself over. Make the other guy look like $1 million. Do what you do best. And that's sell and bump and make the other guy look great. And that's exactly what he's going to do in this match.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I don't even really know if there's much more to say. I do expect a solid match. I've liked the story they've told, but Dean's title reign isn't ending here. If anything, I see Dean's championship reign ending no later than No Mercy, presumably in October. So, yeah, he's still got a little bit of gas left in the tank.
Yeah. So that was actually a much easier decision and conversation to have than the last one. So that said, let's move on to one that I think might be controversial in some circles, but I think you and I are pretty unanimous on this. John Cena versus AJ Styles. I've got AJ.
I've got AJ as well. I think Dean Ambrose is his next stop. I could actually see him and Dean headlining the next, I want to say 2 pay-per-views together. SmackDown exclusive, of course. Pay-per-views together.
Backlash and No Mercy.
Yeah, definitely. So AJ for the win should be a great match. But do you think AJ is going to win clean or dirty? How do you think it's going to go down? Because they did that ref bump for Money in the Bank. And what do you think?
You know what? No, I think AJ. Oh God! Why do you have to ask me these questions? What does it matter as long as he wins?
I just thought I'd start a little conversation. I'm sorry.
I don't care how he wins, though. That's the thing. If he wins by cheating, that's fine. If he wins clean, that's even better. But either way, as long as AJ wins, I'm considering myself right.
Well, there you go. I'm going to go on a little extra limb. I do think he's going to win clean, honestly. I think they want AJ to really make a statement before challenging Dean. I could see him beating John Cena clean. So I'm picking AJ Styles, and I think he's going to do it because he's freaking phenomenal. So there you go.
He is. That's right. He is phenomenal. So that's honestly, I think that's about all we have to say about that. AJ wins and goes on to face Dean for the title, wins it from him at Backlash. I'm going to add that as well. And then goes on maybe even a nice long reign leading up to WrestleMania where some other babyface can take it off of him. Maybe possibly.
I'm not going to touch any of the territory you just invoked there with the WWE title. I mean, you got to quote-unquote pay to see that shit, but I'm kidding, guys. Of course, you have to check out Backlash preview predictions and No Mercy preview predictions when we do them. But I do see AJ very heavily in the WWE title hunt. Whether he wins or not, staying mum on that right now, so we'll see.
Okay, well, you're staying mum, and I'm just kind of letting it all out there, so I guess that makes me the slut of our little duo.
Yes. You're fun, though. You're fun.
So up next, let's talk about what is going to either be the semi-main or the main event of this card. And actually, knowing the way WWE likes to structure their cards, this will probably actually go on like fourth to last, like kind of that Undertaker at WrestleMania spot. Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton.
What are you thinking here?
Oh, this is going to be the controversial one, isn't it? Oh,
I
God.
know where you're going then if you're saying that.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get Randy Orton's winning.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going the safe bet. I'm going Lesnar. Lesnar's beating Orton.
Oh, no, dude, I completely agree that that's a safe bet. That's where if I was betting, I would put money on Lesnar. But because this is previewing predictions and I can say what I'm actually feeling and what I want to happen and what I'm hoping will happen and what I'm predicting to happen based on context clues, I'm going with Orton, man. I think that they are building Orton big time. Orton might even be the one to take the title off AJ, and he might even be the one that does it before the end of 2016. Orton versus AJ Styles, maybe at like a TLC or a similar show, maybe even at Survivor Series. That would be awesome. I could see them doing that. And I think AJ is going to take the title off of Dean Ambrose at literally the next show at Backlash. And then he might only hold it for 3 months or 2 months even before dropping it to Orton. Because I think Orton is going to be kind of the face of SmackDown because of how Cena is so inconsistent with his appearances lately. And Orton is kind of like the last full-time worker of his era at this point because, you know, there were the Fortunate Four, Orton, Cena, Batista, Edge. 2 of those guys are retired, and one of them is on a very light part-time schedule now, and Orton's the only one left that's on a full-time schedule. Right. I think Orton is going to get SmackDown's booking team to get really behind him. I think Orton is going to beat Lesnar here. He might cheat to do it. He might use a punt to do it. It might take 4 RKOs or whatever. But I do think that Orton is going to manage to pull this match out of his ass and beat Lesnar. He might even use it might even be a punt, and Lesnar might even do that thing where sometimes wrestlers will kick out after 3, where like he kicks out at 3.5. So even though Orton won, it still looks like Lesnar kicked out of a freaking punt. But admittedly, they haven't been building the punt up, so maybe it won't be. Maybe Lesnar kicks out of the first RKO at 1, kicks out of the second RKO after a near fall, and then the third RKO finally puts him away. I think Lesnar is going to lose, and I think that the spot that he's going to lose to is the one that we've all been anticipating, the F5 into the RKO reversal.
Yes, that's been the one image for years when I've regarded this as a dream match, which I don't have to anymore because it's happening, but that's the one image I've played in my mind over and over. See, it's funny, Ashton, because all of your reasoning I would apply to Brock, but of course you'd have to change some things around. Like I could see Brock, he beats Orton, and I've been reading this might happen anyway, which to me is believable because it is Brock. He beats Orton here. I've been hearing Royal Rumble. He could challenge for the Universal Championship. Again, given that it's Brock and everything else, I could readily believe that. We'll probably talk about the Universal Championship match either next or the last thing. I don't know. And yeah, I mean, I see Brock winning, and then the next thing he does, whoever the Universal Champion is, that's who Brock is going after. So it's funny because you see Orton winning, and then it won't take him long to get in the title picture. I'm saying the same thing about Brock. So it's really just a matter now of who wins the match. I'm going Brock. You're going Orton, which is our second disagreement here at Preview and Predictions.
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, I really do think Brock probably might. Yeah, let me put it this way. I'm picking Orton based on evidence. I think that the WWE is unhappy with how much power Brock has over them. I think they're unhappy that they were unable to suspend Brock due to him being part-time. I think that they are unhappy that Brock got popped for some kind of wellness thing. Yeah, exactly. Popped for that was Roman that got popped for Adderall. What are you talking about?
Oh, it was an asthma medication, I think, for Lesnar though, that had like a corticosteroid or something.
They're mad that they're mad that he got popped by the UFC's drug testing committee and that they can't suspend him for that. So I think that they are going to be kind of trying to send a message to Brock Lesnar and saying, you might be a big deal, but no one is bigger than the WWE. We can have you lose at the drop of a hat, and you can go to your UFC and win there, but you're going to have to actually earn that. It's not going to just be handed to you like the wins here are.
Yeah, and then you know what? If I'm right and Lesnar does win, no more saying that anybody, like nobody's above WWE, because Lesnar will have proven that night, well, clearly I am. And,
dude, I think that Roman Reigns has already proven that.
Right. So,
but the WWE still likes to believe it. Whether it's true or not, the WWE still likes to convince themselves that that's a thing.
Right.
So I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if Brock won. Like I said, if I was a betting man, I would put money on Brock Lesnar winning. But I have to pick Orton based on the evidence that I've seen. He's been so hot since his return. The crowds love him. The WWE has clearly missed the boat on capitalizing on Brock Lesnar beating the streak, and they've missed on that boat a long time ago. So it's not like him losing to Orton is even that big of a deal anymore. All the signs point to Orton winning, in my opinion. And I think that another problem is Heyman came right out on Monday and said, I'm supposed to convince you that Randy Orton has a chance, but he doesn't. You should show up just to see Brock Lesnar in action. That feels like a heel way of saying, yeah, Orton's winning.
That could be. I don't know though, dude. To me, maybe it's even just hard for me to wrap around the idea of Lesnar losing since he beat the streak and since he dominated John Cena. What was it, at last year's SummerSlam? So,
dude, that was like 3 years ago.
Oh, 3 years ago. We'll see. I have no concept of time. But regardless, he's been so dominant. It's hard for me to wrap around the idea of him even losing, maybe. I just don't see it happening here. I wouldn't mind if Orton won. I think it'd be a great win for SmackDown. And, kayfabe, Bryan and Shane could brag about, oh, yeah, Orton slayed the beast. And then you go right into again, maybe him. Maybe Orton does the feud with Bray Wyatt after that, and then after that feud, he would do AJ and the championship, because I think that'd be a great build for Orton.
Cena Lesnar was 2 years ago, not 3 years ago. Bryan Cena was 3 years ago. That's right.
Okay. But yeah, I don't see Lesnar losing yet. I do see him taking this all the way to confronting whoever the Universal Champion is when he finally decides to reemerge and gunning for that championship. So this is where we are. You're picking Orton. I'm picking Lesnar. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Like I said, Lesnar will probably win, but I still have to pick Orton. So finally, let's get to the match that probably will main event if Lesnar Orton doesn't, which is very possible, but we'll see. Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins for the WWE Universal Championship, the new Raw title. Seth Rollins was handpicked by Stephanie McMahon, and Finn Balor won a fatal four-way and a singles match against Roman Reigns in order to get here. John, who you got?
Seth Rollins. Yeah, I think Seth Rollins.
What? We disagree on this too.
So you're picking Balor, huh?
I'm picking the Demon, John. I'm not picking Finn Balor. I'm picking the Demon, who was undefeated in NXT until he ran into Samoa Joe one too many times.
Yeah, well, you know something about that? And it's funny because I'm going to use kind of your own logic against you in a way, because the main roster is not NXT. If you need proof of that, just look at Enzo and Cass. You said earlier in the same video, NXT would always have Enzo and Cass lose in the big matches, and that's what made them sympathetic. WWE main roster, they've done nothing but win and be on a huge roll. To me, I don't think the main roster gives a shit about the Demon. I think they look at it as just a cool thing that Finn Balor does, and I think
but you know what, though? I think the difference there is that Balor is a Triple H guy. I understand that Enzo and Cass are also, in a sense, Triple H guys, but I think that they were more regulars on NXT to the point that NXT had a little bit more control over the direction of their characters than Triple H. Balor is a Triple H guy. Balor is a guy like Balor, Owens, Zayn, Neville, and Itami are the guys that Triple H is going to have their back no matter what. And I think that Triple H is going to push really, really hard for Balor to go over here to protect the Demon's credibility.
Yeah, see,
this crazy, face paint and hairpiece and all this stuff character who is unique to special shows, to pay-per-view events, lose on his first appearance.
I just have to disagree with you. I think the whole basis of the Seth character, especially this particular character coming back, redesign, rebuild, reclaim, he is shrewd. He does find a way around everything. It's going to be incredibly cheaty. It's going to be an incredibly dirty win, but I do think Seth's going to find a way to pull it off. And, I agree with the other people that have been saying, Seth wins. He'll never shut the fuck up about it. It'll become the new Chris JeriKO. I beat Rock and Austin on the same night to become the undisputed champion. It's going to be the modern day version of that to me. Seth is not going to stop talking about it. I do see him getting the win. I could see a ref bump. I could see an exposed turnbuckle. I could see him throwing everything at Demon Balor, but he is going to get it done. So I'm thinking Seth is going to become the inaugural Universal Champion, and maybe they'll do a rematch at the next event. I don't know what Balor does after that, but yeah, he's not winning on this night, I don't think. I think Seth's going to pull it out.
Well, all right. Well, I'm picking the Demon King, Balor, to win over Seth Rollins. Admittedly, I don't really care who wins this, and not in a bad way, not in an, I don't care because I don't like either guy, in a good way, in the sense that if either one of these guys walks away with this title, I'm ecstatic because that's an excellent first champion to have. It's awesome. However, we aren't done, John. We do have a match left that really probably should. I mean, here's the thing. If you are ever going to have a women's match main event a show, what better time than now to have Sasha versus Charlotte in the return match main event SummerSlam?
I agree. That would send a huge message, too, on the Raw side. You just recently aired WWE 24 Women's Evolution.
Exactly. And they had, and the first match that they had, if that wasn't enough of a vote of confidence, I don't know what will, because that match that they had on Raw only went for like 12 to 15 minutes, and that took a crowd that cared about basically nothing that was going on that night and made them so invested by the end of this match. This crowd was losing their minds for Sasha Banks.
Yes. The only reason I unfortunately don't think that it's going to main event is that WWE is so masturbatory with everything that they do. If it was going to main event, they'd shout it from the rooftops. And it's a shame.
Yeah.
Because
I agree. Because of the way that they were with NXT TakeOver Respect. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly. And it's a shame, too, because I love your logic. And I'll tell you something, the table's set. They have it where Dana Brooke is banned from ringside. Charlotte has got to do this on her own. So what better way?
They could go for 20 minutes. They could absolutely kill it. They could be just everything that we know. And the thing is, like, Sasha and Charlotte have wrestled dozens of times by now. And honestly, I don't think I've ever seen anything but a great match from these two. Like, if we're judging matches on a scale from 1 to 10, I don't think I've ever seen a Sasha-Charlotte match that was worse than like an 8.
Right. I agree with you. Wholeheartedly. I would love for these two women to main event. Fortunately, I don't think it's going to happen. I actually think the Universal title probably will main event, and it's crazy because SmackDown boasts about having the world title.
I think that Orton Lesnar is going to main event, honestly, because that's the only big main event match that has people from both brands on it. So I think that'll main event over everything else.
That's true. And you know what? With Orton Lesnar, you better believe they probably do those backstage cameras like, oh, here are all the superstars in the SmackDown locker room watching, here are all the superstars in the Raw locker room watching. They'll make a whole production out of it. But yeah, they've got a great opportunity here. And the crazy thing is they don't even know it. They don't even know that they have this opportunity here. And yeah, I do think Sasha's going to retain. I don't see her dropping the belt this early into her run.
Oh, God.
Don't tell me you're picking Charlotte to win. Come on now, dude.
Oh my god.
Now I gotta challenge. You've always challenged me when you feel like I'm getting a little crazy. You really think Sasha's reign just started, and Charlotte held it for a long ass time.
I know, John, but Ric Flair is still a thing, and he was contacted to be on this show, and Dana's banned from ringside, but no one ever said anything about Rick.
Now, where did you hear that Rick was contacted? Like, how did this all come together?
Mark, the freaking Angry Mark.
The same, yeah, the Kurt Angle, but he's gotten other stuff right, so it's kind of a mixed bag. I don't know.
He's 88% now instead of 100%.
Dude, still gotta buck you on this one though, because I know you would me if it was me. I'd have to believe that you'd do it if it were me. I don't think you should go down that route. I think you need to dispel that shit. You need to go with Sasha. Look, if I'm wrong, you could give me a public tongue lashing like I can't believe I listened to you on live reactions. But Charlotte held that belt for – that's really the main reason. It's not even the idea that Sasha just won it, because I know that doesn't necessarily mean anything. But that Charlotte just got done an insanely long run between the Divas Championship and this one. Like, you know – I'm not even trying to be like,
all right, yeah, you're right. I got to get my head out of my ass. I need to stop paying attention to all of this extracurricular shit. I already picked Randy Orton to beat Brock Lesnar, which makes no goddamn sense. Fine, you win.
I give you, yeah.
I will officially put my name in the hat. Sasha retains in a long, drawn-out, well-fought victory that Ric Flair tries to cost her, but Charlotte still manages to lose.
And you know something, dude? Like, I'll be honest with you now. When you said Orton beats Lesnar, and this is just how strongly I feel about Sasha retaining, I believe that before I believe Sasha dropping the championship. Because I think Lesnar eventually has got to be due for a loss. I just think they've built him up so much that it's like, well, who can beat him? Who's right to beat him? And that's my quandary. But no way is Sasha dropping that belt. Like, yeah, I was more okay with you saying Orton. I even like to a degree that you pegged Orton. But even thinking Charlotte, nah, brother, I got to save you from that. And if you would have been right, you know me, I'll apologize up and down for it. But I just can't see Sasha dropping that belt because, honestly, I think her next opponent, and I hate the idea of it because I think it's way too soon, but I think Nia Jax. I think they're just going to hot shot her into that championship.
See, and I think that might be Bayley getting called up, honestly.
Oh, so you think, because see, if they do that, do you think Sasha would go heel then to make the program work? Or how do you think they'd play that angle?
I think so, yeah. I mean, well, I'm so bad at this. John, why is this my job when I'm so incredibly bad at it?
See, because to me, I look at Bayley and Sasha as WrestleMania 33 on lock, and I feel like you've been saying the 4 horsewomen.
No, see, but I think that's going to be the 4-way, the women, the 4 horsewomen fatal 4-way match.
But how do we do that though with Becky on SmackDown? Is there a trade that we get this to happen?
Does it matter if no, it's WrestleMania. It's a cross-promotional thing. SmackDown can have a representative. Maybe Bayley goes to SmackDown, and you guys need to realize that this stuff is all just me pulling random things out of my ass. There's no rhyme or reason to any of it. It's all nonsense, and you're all listening to me just spout off random shit that doesn't make any sense, and I'm sorry that I can't be more articulate and make more sense, but I guess that this is why people love us, because you make sense and I do crazy things like pick Charlotte to win the title back after 3 weeks, and I'm not doing that this time. I'm sticking with Sasha. I'm picking Sasha, but John, if you're wrong and Charlotte gets that goddamn title back, I am going to be so beyond pissed. I am going to be livid. And not even just at you, but also at the decision that was made, but mostly at you. So I hope you're prepared.
We can hug it out though, right?
If you insist.
I knew it. I love how he says to, like, well, if you think it's best. And I love too. Because see, to me, the group dynamics are totally fucked up. Because to me, you've always been the one to make sense between the two of us. For God's sakes, man. I let a crusade KO for Money in the Bank 2016. You're just like, no, it's going to be Ambrose. Just going to be Ambrose. And then when Ambrose won, it's like, I told you told you twice. And, you know, it's just like, fuck. And then you've just got this tone now that it's like, guys, I know there are a lot of hurdles to overcome, but I want the 4 horsewomen fatal 4-way. Let me fucking have it. And, you know, it's weird for me to be looking at this because I've always been the crazy one. You've always been the smart one between the two of us. And I feel like I've been more grounded, at least with these last few matches. So especially Sasha Charlotte. So it's a weird dynamic. Not one I'm entirely opposed to, though. But yeah,
this is one of the most unpredictable cards that the WWE has had in a really long time.
I agree that there were matches, because even if I would say, oh, Lesnar beats Orton or Rollins beats Balor, like, a lot of it does seem to be a toss-up to me. I mean, even hell, the Club versus New Day, that's a toss-up because I feel like Big E's kind of a wild card, you know, his absence or lack thereof. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see how they handle this. And I really hope at the end of it, we're not both weekly giving this like a really weak search it or even a strong skip it. Like, I hope it's not one of those pay-per-views that because it's unpredictable, it goes down in flames. I'd like to see a good show here, so just hoping we get one.
Yeah, we're going to get one. It is going to be a really good show, and people are going to be like, oh, guys, why would you stop reviewing WWE when it got so good right now? And then a month later, they're going to look back with hindsight and be like, oh, that's why.
You know, I remember reading in my history books that, you know, before the Great Depression, everybody was getting rich, right? Everybody was making this bank. And then when the markets tanked, all people could do is watch the ticker tape of all the money they lost. And that's how I feel about the WWE product. Like, this is a really good show. Everybody's going to be riding the high. Oh, yeah, man, wrestling is great. And then when it has that crash because it's the fall months and everybody's like, this close, you know, the blade this close to their wrist. Oh, I'm going to cancel my subscription, this and that. You and I are just going to be resting being like, damn, Lucha Underground season 3 is so good. And, you know,
yes, exactly. Side. And that's the thing. Like, people, it's amazing that people haven't picked up on this pattern yet that's been going on for 7 years, maybe. It feels like it's been going on basically since they went PG. The WWE might seem really awesome right around SummerSlam, but as soon as the SummerSlam post or the post SummerSlam Raw and maybe SmackDown are over, I think Vince gives a call to the writers and says, all right, boys, pack it on up. NFL season is about to begin. You don't have to keep trying for the next 4 months.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm anticipating too. And again, though, at least we have Lucha Underground, and it's going to be amazing. Season 3 is going to kick so much ass. I feel it. Everybody's been feeling it. And quite honestly, I'll be glad to leave that burning heap known as the fall months of WWE programming far behind. So I'm just looking to enjoy SummerSlam, even if it crashes. And here's the beautiful thing about our hiatus. Even if this show sucks, I still get to throw back my head and laugh because I know I'm not going to be a part of the cleanup crew when it's over. So really, whatever this show is, whatever this show is, it's going to be. I'm excited for it, though. I know my scum squad going to represent strong. We're going to laugh at all those failures. And oddly enough, though, I don't even feel like laughing at Sami Zayn because I feel so bad he didn't make the card. But I'll laugh at everybody else, though, to compensate. It's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, exactly. So this show is either going to be amazing and it's going to be really enjoyable, or it's going to be really bad and we're going to spend the entire night laughing at people's faces who have to watch this for the next 4 months.
Suck it, Marks. Yeah!
Yes, you took it up a notch. I love it.
All right, bro, close us out.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been your WWE SummerSlam 2016 preview and predictions. Be sure to stay tuned because the next 3 days are going to be live reaction-orific. We've got Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor 14 tomorrow, headlined by Jay Lethal versus Adam Cole, but also Okada versus Dalton Castle and Shibata versus Silas Young. Those matches are all going to be amazing. On Saturday, we've got NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 2. It's not even a coincidence, but I'm holding up the number 2 because I'm talking about these shows as we go, and I was holding up 1 for DBD 14, and now I'm holding up a 2 for Brooklyn 2 because it's the second Brooklyn. It's also the second consecutive show we'll be live reacting to, and it's going to have all those amazing matches we talked about in our last video. I'm not even going to name a single one because if you want to know the card, go back and listen to our preview and predictions. And finally, on Sunday, SummerSlam 2016, the show that we've spent this entire video talking about, the show that we've spent over an hour now talking about. And it is going to be either amazing or amazingly bad. But either way, we're either going to enjoy ourselves for one reason or another. And then, of course, we've got the usual Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, NXT, CWC coverage. And then we will be taking a multiple-month break from main roster television programming. We will be stopping covering Raw and SmackDown after this coming week until the Royal Rumble. Even more so than Robert Roode's theme music, because on September 7th is the return of Lucha Underground Season 3 coming at you, and that's in less than 3 weeks now. It's going to be incredible. But until then, be sure to stay tuned because the next 3 days are going to be stacked with live reactions.